The Sphinx has been surrounded with great mystery, with such questions as who built the Sphinx? How old is the Sphinx? What does the Sphinx represent? The Sphinx is simply a composite of four creatures: a lion, feline, bull, bovine, man, Homo sapien, and fowl, galliforms. From the religious or theologian point of view, the Sphinx represents the major empires of the world: the Roman Empire, the Babylonian, the Greek Empire, and the European Empire or New Babylon today. These four beasts are also mentioned in the New Testament book of the Christians, Revelation 4:7, and in the book of Daniel, 7:4-6, the Old Testament of the Jews. They are referred to as the four beasts that surround the throne, and called the four living creatures in the Old Testament of the Hebrews, Ezekiel 5-12, 10:14-15. There is even a chapter in the Quran of the Muslims, the 100th chapter, called Al-Adiyat, those that run, that speaks about the four horsemen, that again refers to the four creatures. As you will see, they all took this from the Egyptians. In Ezekiel 10:14-15, the word cherub is used in referring to one of the faces of the four living creatures. The word cherubs or cherubim comes from the Hebrew word karubim, whose root means near, as in those beings near to the throne of Yhwh God. The cherubs or cherubims are disagreeable beings, and conversely the seraphs or seraphims in Hebrew are agreeable. The true nature of man can be found within these four creatures. Note, this is from the Bible and Quran, and they are talking about a creature with wings and a head of beast or animal. Look at it. Is this not Babylonian and Egyptian symbolism? Yes, it is. They borrowed all of this symbolism from the ancient Egyptians. Here is how you know. In ancient Egypt there are other sphinxes as well. For example, the sitting statue of Anubis is also a form of a sphinx, the rams in Luxor at the temple of Karnak are also sphinxes, and even the Ark of the Covenant would be a form of a sphinx with angels on it. In ancient stories, the sphinx was looked at as a type of female guardian, and whoever crossed her path had to answer a riddle, which reads like this: what walks on all fours in the morning, walks on two at high noon, and walks on three in the evening? If one was unable to answer correctly, they were devoured. The answer is: a child crawls on all four, an infant autumn re, an adult walks on two as an adolescence autun re, and in old age you walk on three as an old man with the assistance of a cane, was, a moon re. Yet and still the original purpose of the Sphinx has remained a secret among the ancient Egyptians, something you will learn in the ancient Egyptian order AEO, and what has been a mystery for ages will become crystal clear. Some assume it to be no more than 2,000 to 6,000 years old, which goes along with the falsely calculated time of age of the planet Earth itself. Through research, it is now being revealed that the Sphinx dates back as far as 15,000 BC, back to Nefertiti-Narmer, of the first of the 46 dynasties. This Narmer was Enoch, of the Torah of the Jews, Idris of the Quran of the Muslims, and Adapa of the Sumerians, and the deity Baal of the Canaanites. The Sphinx's origin is even said to date back as far as the last ice age. It is also a geodesic marker for the direction to watch in the skies for the constellations, which would mark when the equinox would come in, which occurs every 25,000 years. For instance, we are now going into the age of Aquarius, when the age of Leo began around 10,500 BC, every two equinoxes, 25,000, is one epoch, 50,000, and during that epoch of 50,000 years ago, 25,000 periods, equivalent to two equinoxes, would be the first sun into the moon cycle, or solar into lunar. The equinox is lined up with the circumference of the planet Earth. The Earth's circumference is 24.896 thousand miles. You get land 1 mile for every year. We are now entering the third cycle: 25,000 sun, 25,000 moon, 25,000 sun, 75,000 years. The three cults are the stellar stars, which are suns related to the sun's many forms of energy, nature at work, the lunar moon, which are illusions, spook or spirit worship related to water, and the solar, which is sun, related to energy. If you were standing in between the paws of the Sphinx during that time, you would see the Leo constellation in the sky when it comes in, which agrees with the geology of the planet. The Sphinx is used as a celestial marker. In astrology or zodiac signs, Leo is the fifth sign and comes before the ninth gate opens, with the alignment of the year 2000 AD or 6,000 years. This celestial alignment happens within a certain amount of time. For instance, astronomers have agreed that certain catastrophes happen over and over again. For instance, a planet ship called Nibiru or Planet X returns every 3,600 years, and cycles end and start every 25,000 years, which is an equinox, and two of these is an epoch, 50,000 years. During this period the planet Earth goes through cataclysmic changes, and it all happens in cycles of 4. This is the third time, and during this cycle and during this third period is when the Earth is most severely affected. The movement of the equinoxes along the ecliptic is called the precession of the equinoxes. The Earth also moves on an elliptic orbit on a 23-degree axis. This precession occurs every 26,000 years because of that. What modern scientists don't know about the Sphinx is that it also had wings, that have fallen off and eroded away due to an abundance of water. The only water that would have been strong enough to damage something so colossal in size is a deluge or flood that buried the ninth chamber where Atifa hid the secret word. This is the same flood mentioned in the Noah story of the Bible chapter 6 of the book of Genesis and the Quran of the Muslims. However, the actual flood that covered a vast majority of the earth dates back further than your Bible and Quran story of a man named Noah. The Torah calls Noach, Genesis 6:5, and the Quran calls Nuh, chapter 71, and in the New Testament he is called Noe, Matthew 24. The recordings of this flood can be found in the ancient tablets of Gilgamesh epics. The original Egyptian Ephrati pharaoh Narmer is called Adapa in the tablets of Adapa. The Gilgamesh epics and the tablets of Adapa are tablets much older than the entire Bible and Quran, and Noah's or Nuh's name was really Utnapishtim. Yet, the plagiarized scripture, referred to as the Torah or the Old Testament, believed in and accepted blindly by Jews, Christians and Muslims, record the story in their own way, and give attributes to the God they call Yahweh or Yahweh, even Jehovah, or the Muslims use Uwa, when in actuality this too was borrowed from the ancient Egyptians, and along with stellar, solar and lunar we get Talar for earth worshippers. They utilize these four principles in their abbreviations, YHWH. The reason why the H is repeated is because stellar and solar are actually the same, stars are suns and the sun is a star. So, the Tetragrammaton, or the unspoken name of the deity of the monotheistic religions, was also borrowed from the Egyptian He or Hu, creative force of will. He was simply one of the triads of Ta-Ptah, as you see by the letters HUHI is equivalent to YHWH, just in reverse. The sacred records of Autumn Re, Chapter 1, El Hajr, the beginning, Scroll 1, verse 296 to 297. In Egypt, He, which is Hu, or Uwa, was considered the personification of utterance, with which the creator Ptah, who was regarded as creator of the physical world and deity of technology, done its work. Who was the utterance or tone, the vibration and pulsation of existence, and that which comes to existence within the sacred breath. The Tetragrammaton YHWH represents the attributes of four Netarot, which again ties to the four elements of nature. The four letters stand for Ta earth, Mu water, Nephu air, and Set fire. The four sources of life, the four directions, north, south, east, and west, or blood, born, flesh, and mind originally. When these letters are put together they form the name of the ancient Babylonian deity Yah, which is equated with good, Weh, which is equated with bad, which again links the twofold nature of man. Y, man, Aquarius, Nephu, east, Neter-Shu. H, lion, Leo, Sphinx, Set, south, Neter-Ra. V, eagle, Scorpio, Mu, west, Neter-Tefnut. H, bull, Taurus, Ta, north, Neter-Geb. Here you begin to see the magical correspondences that start to form before our eyes and realize how complete the four elements control everything that exists. The Sphinx was an ancient marker to the ancient ones about man's creation, including four elements and components from all four directions on the earth. Mathematically you would see a square. Divide the square into four parts. Now you have 4 by 90 degree angles. When angles are added, 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 equals the sum of 360 degrees, being 180 degrees of agreeable and 180 degrees of disagreeable knowledge of man. And 9 plus 0 equals 9, and 3 plus 6 plus 0 equals 9. It always goes back to 9. 9 is the supreme number that goes on the 9 to the 9th power of 9, or simply 999, or the 9th chamber of the sacred pyramid, under which can be found that name, that attribute, that word, that title. 4 by 90 equals 360 degrees and 8 by 90 equals 720 degrees, a combination of knowledge from above and below. 1, name, 2, attribute, 3, title, 4, word. The four letters of the Tetragrammaton also has its roots in Egyptian magic. The first letter Y, or Yod, meaning the manifested power of the hand, with a numerical value of 10. For the 10 fingers, and your fingers are divided into 14 sections on each hand. 14 plus 14 equals 28, which is 10 again. In the Bible it says the commandments of man were written by the finger of God, the second book of the 5 books of the Torah of the Jews, Exodus 31:18 and Deuteronomy 5:22. The finger of God that wrote the 10 commandments goes back to the Neter-Tahuti of ancient Egypt, who was the Neter, deity, of writing. Also the Quran uses the hand of Allah. Not to mention the hand of Fatima, the daughter of the Muslim prophet Muhammad, is also held as a talisman or good luck piece. There were really 613 commandments, and 6 plus 1 plus 3 equals 10. That's where you get 10 commandments, ask any Jewish rabbi. In ancient Egypt the presence of the air, Neter-Shu, is the manifestation from naught to aught or from nothing to something. The second letter H or He means life. This would be equivalent to life in the etheric world and makes reference to the Ba soul and Ka spirit of man, the Egyptian Ra, where they get the Arabic word ruh and the Hebrew word ruach soul or spirit. It also deals with everything that vitalizes air, wind, breath, life and being. Such as the regenerative powers of the sun, Net or Ra. The He has a numerical value of 3. The triad or trinity birth, living, and death, the 3 degrees of existence. The third letter W or Vav means hook and represents the was. The letter is the sound U and V, and the Roman V became the English U. So in the middle chamber of the word YHWH you have Y who H. The profound mystery, as the decreasing line between being between master and head, shepherd and sheep and non-being. It also pertains to water and the appetite, as in the water vapor in the air that connects man to land, being a land animal yet still living underwater by breathing in an atmosphere of air, the aquatic apes, the unadmitted reptilian. The letter itself means the ear and has to do with sound heard through the air. This coincides with the netter Tefnut, who is the netter of moisture in the air. Vav has a numerical value of 6, 3 plus 3 equals 2 ears. Each ear has 3 parts. 1. The horn, 2. The canal, 3. The eardrum, 2 3 each, that equals 6. All of which are needed for sound. 10 plus 3 plus 3 plus 6 equals 22 and 2 plus 2 equals 4. This 4 also stands for the 4th letter of the Egyptian alphabet, which is a hand again. Notice the fish in the center of the Ka and Hepet symbols. This is where the fish as a Christian symbol originated. The Enit, Bulti, fish is the symbol of rebirth in Egypt because it incubates and gives birth to its young in its mouth. The Christians use it to symbolize the rebirth or return of Jesus Christ. The Bulti fish has a bright reddish coloration and rounded in shape, which is why it was also used as a symbol of the sun, as the sun sun raises each day and the sun son will raise one day. Notice the waved lines as opposed to scales, represented the fact that the fish came to the surface of the waters, representing rebirth. The double fish or Pisces fish of the Piscean era or Christianity, also came from ancient Egypt and represent the unity of Upper and Lower Egypt. This is why the Pope uses the symbol of the fish on his head called the mitre. According to the teachings of Christianity, Jesus fed his followers with 2 fish and Jesus was referred to as the fisherman or fisher of men. These 2 fish were the Buto for Lower Egypt and the perch for Upper Egypt, 2 fish. Jesus was born December 25th, sign of Capricorn the ram, the Egyptian symbol of Pa Net or Ra. The last He means life again and goes back to the principles in creation and life on the physical plane or earth, the Net or Geb, earth, who was also a creator netter and father of Asaru, Aset, Neptet, and Suchuk. So, the YHWH is from the Egyptian triad of Ptah, opening or opener, 1, He, 2, Hika, 3, Sia. So you have Y equals Ptah, H equals He, S equals Sia and H equals Hika. The color scales and the tree of life and the spiritual life are, He, 1, Supreme Balancement, black, Sekhem, Amun-Re. 2, life, blood, red, Ab, Shu. 3, gold, silver, platinum, copper, brass, Hadi, Tefnut. Sia, 1, white, gray, Ak, Geb. 2, brown, green, yellow, Kabet, Nut. 3, red, black, green, Ba, Asaru. Hika, 1, scarlet, purple, violet, Ku, Aset. 2, orange, amber, Kot, Suchuk. 3, blue, red, yellow, Ka, Neptet. The color scale of Haru is black, gray, and white. Haru was the start of the line of rulers on earth, over ancient Egypt, which was no longer being ruled directly by the Sedyet, Enneads, Neterat. Adam creator god, Shu god of air, Tefnut goddess of moisture, Geb god of earth, Nut goddess of the sky, Asaru god of life and death, Aset goddess of blood, body, and flesh, Neptet goddess of breath, breathing and wind, Suchuk, fire, Haru god of human beings. Each of the levels have a color, a plane and a netter coinciding with it. Shu, Re, Tefnut and Geb are the dominate netterat of the Sedyet, Enneads, here based on the part they play in nature and role they play in the life of mortals. Whenever one desires to reach or make contact with one of the higher levels of the netterat, one must also study the numerical or magical correspondences of that level and surround oneself with as many of the symbols of the netterat as one can. In this way one can create a harmonious atmosphere to the forces of the netterat. The numerical correspondence of the planes of creation with their meanings are contained with these numbers 1 through 9, and is the total creation of mortals. As such they also represent different states of consciousness embodied in numerical values. For this reason, one always should find the numerical value of everything he wants to influence. That deals with the power of 9 to the 9th power of 9. 9 is the magic number for Egyptians. For instance, the elements that make up this planet naturally occurring in nature are 99. The creation of the universe also began with the number 9. The Netarot began existence with the science of the circle and the square. The circle was turned inside out and was placed inside the square. This caused an explosion inside of the square. The square is geometrically stable and was able to contain the energy, thus giving birth to your atom. Both the circle and the square equals 360 or 3 plus 6 plus 0 equaling 9 again. 7200, 7 plus 2 equals 9. It always goes back to 9. 9 is the only number that no matter how many times you multiply it, the sum of the products always equals 9. The second 9 represents a higher level of consciousness. The three states of consciousness indicated by the three groups of letters and numbers are matter, mind and spirit. Now one may ask, how does all of this tie with the Sphinx? The Sphinx ties into the original creation of man on the planet Earth. Just as on the face of Mars, which is actually a face of a Sphinx, was a marker to the Netarot before the Adama project was moved to Earth. That is also why, if you morph the pictures of the Sphinx, and the face on Mars, you will see they match. The Nemu's headpiece that is on the Sphinx is symbolic of the mane of a lion. Once the experiment was moved from Mars to Earth by the Netarot, the face on the Sphinx changed because a different animal or being was chosen. And each time the experiment was done over, the face on the Sphinx changed also. So, the Sphinx is also a symbol not only of the nature of man, but also his physical compositions. So likewise, man is also a composite being. The Sphinx is one of the missing links, one to past, present and future. These are a few jewels of the ancient Egyptians that will be revealed to you by the ancient Egyptian order, giving you the missing keys about your ancient past. With this in mind, as one continues studying and practicing patience, the overstanding of ancient mysteries will be obtained, giving you right wisdom which will give you right overstanding.